The ground shook hard enough to knock toys off shelves. Liam grabbed Scrapper before the honey badger could slide off the bed, pulling the compact animal against his chest. Outside the small quarters, sirens wailed across Haven 7 colony. His mother burst through the door, hair wild and eyes wide. Predator Legion ships just dropped out of hyperspace. We have maybe 20 minutes before they're in firing range. Anna grabbed a supply bag and started shoving clothes inside. Pack your things, sweetheart, only what you can carry. Liam nodded and reached for his backpack. Scrapper squirmed in his arms, growling low. The honey badger knew something was wrong. Animals always knew first. Can Scrapper come? Liam asked quietly. His mother paused, then touched his cheek. Of course, he's family. The corridor outside filled with refugees from a dozen species. Tall reptilian creche hissed instructions to their young. Four-armed pentax carried belongings in each limb. Floating gas screechers called wisps drifted overhead, their color shifting to panicked oranges and reds. Everyone moved toward the central bunker. Liam held Scrapper close and followed his mother into the stream of bodies. The honey badger's claws dug into his shirt, not enough to hurt, just enough to hold on. They had been together for 3 years now, ever since Liam found him as a kit in the cargo bay. The crew wanted to space the animal, said Earth creatures were dangerous. Liam begged his mother until she said yes. Best decision he ever made. Commander Routh stood at the bunker entrance, his scaled face grim. The creche military leader waved groups through with sharp gestures. Quickly, quickly, Pentax families to Section 3, Wisps to Section 5, humans. He paused, glancing at the clipboard held by an assistant. Humans to Section 7. Section 7 is closest to the outer wall, Anna said sharply. If shields fail. If shields fail, we lose outer sections first, Routh interrupted. Your species numbers 23 individuals. Pentax number over 200, creche number 300. We place highest populations in safest zones. Simple mathematics. That's not fair. Fair is a luxury, human. Move along. Anna's jaw tightened, but she took Liam's hand and pulled him toward Section 7. Other human families followed, faces tight with fear and anger. Dr. Yenna, an insectoid scientist with compound eyes and delicate antennae, scurried alongside them. I requested placement with your group, she chittered to Anna. Your species fascinates me, particularly the bond between young Liam and his creature. Now's not really the time for research, Anna muttered. On the contrary, crisis reveals truth. Dr. Yenna's antennae twitched toward Liam. The child shows remarkable calm. Liam wasn't calm. His heart hammered against his ribs, but panicking wouldn't help anyone, and Scrapper could feel his emotions. The honey badger needed him steady. Section 7 was smaller than the others, with thin walls and fewer supply crates. The humans spread out, families claiming corners while single adults formed small groups. Liam sat against the wall with Scrapper in his lap, stroking the animal's coarse fur. The honey badger's breathing matched his own, slow and controlled. The first explosion came 10 minutes later. The bunker lurched, lights flickered, someone screamed. Liam's mother ran to a wall panel and started checking systems while other adults tried to calm children. Through the thin walls, they heard more explosions, closer each time. Shields are failing in sectors 1 through 4, Anna called out. They're hitting us with everything. Dr. Yenna moved to a security monitor and activated the external feeds. Everyone crowded around to watch. Predator Legion warships hung in orbit like dark daggers, launching missile after missile at the colony. The shields flared bright with each impact, but the light grew dimmer with every strike. How long, someone asked. Hours, maybe less. Anna's voice was hollow. On the monitors, Predator dropships began launching from the warships. Hundreds of them, small and fast, racing toward the surface. The Predator Legion didn't just want to destroy Haven 7. They wanted to hunt. Liam watched the dropships descend and felt Scrapper tense in his arms. The honey badger's eyes locked on the screen, tracking the vessels like prey. No, not like prey, like threats to his family. They're landing in Sector 2, Dr. Yenna announced. Her voice carried an edge of fear that her scientific curiosity couldn't quite hide. Predator ground forces will breach the outer bunker sections within minutes. Commander Routh's voice crackled over the intercom system. All sections, this is command. We are implementing Emergency Protocol 7. Essential personnel and high-value refugees will evacuate through tunnels to secondary shelter. All others will shelter in place and await relief. Anna slammed her fist against the wall. High-value refugees, translation, everyone but us. We're being abandoned. A man with graying hair stood up, voice shaking. Just like that. Section 7 is designated non-essential. Routh's voice continued, emotionless. Sealing bulkhead doors in 30 seconds. May fortune favor you all. The intercom clicked off. For a moment, nobody moved. Then the reality hit like a physical blow. The heavy bulkhead door at the entrance to Section 7 began sliding shut with a hydraulic hiss. Beyond it, they could hear other refugees rushing toward the evacuation tunnels. Nobody was coming to Section 7. Nobody was going to save them. The door sealed with a final, terrible clang. 23 humans and 1 insectoid scientist trapped in a thin-walled section, while Predator Legion warriors hunted their way through the bunker. Liam looked down at Scrapper. The honey badger looked back up at him with dark, intelligent eyes. "It's okay, buddy," Liam whispered. "We'll be okay." But he wasn't sure he believed it. Anna worked at the power junction box with steady hands despite the sweat on her forehead. Around her, other humans reinforced the door with anything they could find. Metal shelving, supply crates, even a table wedged against the frame. It wouldn't stop Predator warriors, but it might slow them down. Might. Liam sat in the corner with Scrapper curled in his lap. The honey badger's muscles were tense, ready. Dr. Yenna stood beside them, her compound eyes fixed on a portable security monitor she had pulled from her research bag. "They are in Sector 4 now," the scientist reported. Her antennae drooped with each word. "Moving fast, very fast." On the tiny screen, Predator warriors moved through corridors in groups of 5. They were bigger than any species in the bunker, covered in dark armor that made them look like moving shadows. Each carried weapons that crackled with energy. Liam watched them kill a Pentax family without breaking stride, 4 arms flailing, then still. His stomach twisted, but he kept watching. He needed to see, needed to understand how they moved. "Don't look at that, sweetheart," his mother called from across the room. "I need to know what's coming," Liam said quietly. Dr. Yenna's antennae perked up. "The child is correct. Information is survival. He's 9 years old. Age is irrelevant in crisis." The scientist tilted her head, studying Liam with those multifaceted eyes. "He processes threat assessment with unusual clarity. Fascinating." Scrapper growled low, still watching the screen. Liam stroked the honey badger's back, feeling the powerful muscles beneath the fur. Scrapper wasn't big, maybe 20 pounds, but he was pure combat efficiency. No animal on Earth fought like a honey badger. They attacked lions, took on hyenas, never backed down from anything. "They're in Sector 5, Dr. Yenna announced. The room went quiet. Sector 5 was right next to them. Through the walls, they could hear screaming now, weapons fire, the sound of bodies hitting floors. A woman clutched her daughter tight. "We need to hide, make ourselves small." "There's nowhere to hide," the gray-haired man said. His name was Robert, and his hands shook as he held a piece of metal pipe like a weapon. "We make a stand or we die like animals." "We die either way." Another woman, younger, pressed against the far wall. "Did you see what they did to the Pentax? We're nothing to them, just meat." Liam kept stroking Scrapper's fur in long, steady movements. The honey badger's breathing had slowed, matching his own again. In the past 3 years, they had developed something beyond a pet relationship. Scrapper understood him, trusted him, would do anything for him. And Liam would do anything for Scrapper. "Anna, the power relay in Panel 7 is completely fried," another engineer called out. "I can't restore it." "Keep trying, we need lights at minimum." His mother's voice stayed level, but Liam could hear the fear underneath. She was terrified, they all were. Except him. Not because he wasn't scared. He was. His hands wanted to shake, his heart wanted to race, his brain wanted to scream. But Scrapper needed him calm. The honey badger fed off his emotions. If Liam panicked, Scrapper would panic. And a panicked honey badger was dangerous to everyone. So Liam breathed slow, stayed steady, watched the monitor. The predators had finished with Sector 5. 3 minutes from entry to silence. Now they stood outside the sealed bulkhead to Section 7, examining the door. Their leader, taller than the others with red markings on his armor, placed one clawed hand against the metal. "They are outside," Dr. Yenna whispered. Everyone heard it then, the low hum of cutting tools. The predators were coming through. Robert gripped his pipe harder. "Everyone who can fight, get ready. Everyone else, get to the back corner." Families with children moved to the rear. Single adults and those with makeshift weapons formed a pathetic line near the door. Maybe 15 people total, against 5 predator warriors who had just slaughtered their way through 300 refugees. Honor abandoned the power panel and ran to Liam. "Baby, you need to go to the back. Take Scrapper and hide behind the supply crates." No, Liam didn't move. "This isn't a discussion." "Mom," he looked up at her with calm eyes. "Hiding won't work, you know it won't." "Then what are we supposed to do?" She grabbed his shoulders, voice breaking. "You're 9, I can't let you." The bulkhead door began to glow red. The cutting tools were working fast. Scrapper stood up in Liam's lap, facing the door. Every muscle in the honey badger's compact body coiled tight. A low rumble started in his throat, building to a snarl that sounded too big for his size. "Your creature is agitated," Dr. Yenna observed, backing away slightly. Liam stood up, letting Scrapper jump to the floor. The honey badger took position between him and the door, hackles raised. Robert and the others with weapons shifted nervously. They had seen Earth animals on educational feeds, cute pets, harmless companions. Scrapper didn't look harmless right now. "Anna, get everyone to the back corner," Liam said quietly. "When that door opens, you need to be as far from it as possible." "What are you planning?" His mother's voice was sharp with panic. "I'm not planning anything." Liam knelt beside Scrapper, pressing his forehead against the honey badger's head. "He is." The door exploded inward with a blast of superheated metal. The barricade of crates and shelving scattered like toys. Smoke filled the room. Through it came the predator warriors, weapons raised, moving with the confidence of apex hunters entering a cage of prey. The lead predator's eyes swept the room, counting targets, assessing threat levels. His gaze passed over the humans with dismissal, weak, scared, unarmed. Then he saw the small, furry creature standing 10 feet away, snarling at him. The predator actually laughed, a harsh, barking sound. Liam wrapped his arms around Scrapper one more time, not restraining him, just connecting, sharing calm, sharing strength. "Time to be brave, buddy," he whispered into the honey badger's ear. Then he let go, and Scrapper launched forward like a missile of fur and fury. The lead predator didn't have time to stop laughing before Scrapper hit him. 20 pounds of muscle and claws and teeth slammed into the warrior's throat with precision that came from millions of years of evolution. Honey badgers didn't hunt for sport. They hunted to kill. Fast, efficient, brutal. The predator's laugh turned into a gurgle as Scrapper's teeth found the gap between helmet and chest armor. Blood sprayed. The warrior stumbled backward, trying to grab the small creature tearing into his neck. His clawed hands closed on fur and flesh, but Scrapper didn't even flinch. Honey badgers had thick, loose skin that absorbed attacks. The predator might as well have been grabbing smoke. The other 4 warriors stood frozen for exactly 2 seconds. 2 seconds of trying to process what they were seeing. Prey didn't attack. Prey ran. Prey cowered. This small earth creature was doing none of those things. Those 2 seconds cost them everything. Liam moved to the left, staying low. "Robert, third one from the door, he's distracted. Hit him now." Robert swung his pipe without thinking, catching the distracted predator across the back of his knee joint. The warrior stumbled. Another human, a woman named Patricia, threw a heavy wrench that struck his helmet. Not enough to hurt him, just enough to make him turn his back on Scrapper. Mistake. The honey badger released the first predator's throat and launched at the third warrior. This time he went for the back of the knees, tearing through the softer armor joints. The predator roared and fell forward. Scrapper was already gone, moving toward the fourth target. They focus on the biggest threat, Liam shouted. Stay on the sides, don't stand in front of them. The humans scattered like water around rocks, forcing the predators to split their attention. The warriors were trained to hunt prey that ran away. They didn't know how to fight prey that darted in from angles, that refused to group up, that treated them like the prey. The second warrior finally started shooting. Energy bolts burned through the air. One hit Patricia in the shoulder, spinning her around. Another hit the wall, melting metal. A third hit the warrior with the torn knees, killing him instantly. Scrapper darted between legs and around. Corners too fast and too low for the weapons to track. Every few seconds he struck. A torn ankle tendon here, shredded armor joints there. The honey badger didn't try to kill every target. He disabled them, made them slow, made them vulnerable. Made them prey. Dr. Yenna watched from behind a supply crate, her scientist brain recording every detail even as her survival instincts screamed to run. The child and his creature moved like one organism. When Liam pointed, Scrapper attacked. When Scrapper engaged, Liam guided the other humans. Perfect synchronization without words or signals, just pure trust. Anna, that warrior on the left is about to throw a grenade, Liam called out calmly. Tell everyone to drop. How do you know? Mom, now. Anna shouted the warning. Humans hit the floor. The grenade sailed over their heads and exploded against the far wall away from everyone. The predator who threw it stared in confusion. How did they know? Scrapper answered by removing the warrior's throwing arm at the elbow. The screaming started then, not from humans, from predators. The fifth warrior, the only one still mostly intact, backed toward the door. His weapon swept left and right, looking for a target, but Scrapper was everywhere and nowhere. Behind a crate, under a table, circling through shadows. They're retreating, Robert panted, bleeding from a cut on his face, but alive. Impossibly alive. No, Liam's voice was steady. That one's calling for backup, we need to stop him. But the warrior made it through the door before anyone could react. His footsteps echoed down the corridor, running, actually running. The room fell silent except for heavy breathing and the sound of the dying predator warrior on the floor. 3 dead, 1 bleeding out, 1 escaped. Scrapper trotted back to Liam, covered in blood that wasn't his own. The honey badger's eyes were bright and alert, checking his human for injuries. Finding none, he sat at Liam's feet and began grooming the blood from his fur like nothing unusual had happened. Because for a honey badger, nothing unusual had happened. Something threatened his family, he dealt with it, simple. Anna ran to her son and grabbed him, checking every inch for injuries. Are you hurt? Did they hit you? Baby, talk to me. I'm fine, Mom. Liam hugged her back with one arm, his other hand resting on Scrapper's head. We're all fine. We killed predators, Patricia. Sat on the floor, clutching her burned shoulder. Her face was white with shock. We actually killed them. That creature killed them, someone corrected. We just didn't die. Dr. Yenna approached Liam slowly, her antennae quivering. I have studied hundreds of species and their domesticated animals. I have never witnessed a bond like this. How is it possible? Liam shrugged. He's my friend, I trust him, he trusts me. But the synchronization, the tactical awareness. He can feel what I feel, I can read what he needs. We've been together for 3 years. Liam looked down at Scrapper, who looked back up at him with calm, dark eyes. We're family. Robert laughed, a sound bordering on hysteria. A 9-year-old kid and a 20-pound furball just took down 4 predator warriors. The council said humans were weak, said Earth creatures were harmless. The council doesn't understand us, Anna said quietly. She held her son tight, finally understanding what Dr. Yenna had been trying to explain. Humans didn't just own animals, they partnered with them, bonded with them, became stronger together than either could be alone. Through the broken doorway, they could hear commotion in the outer corridor. Shouts, movement. The escaped warrior had definitely called for help. "They'll come back with more," someone said. "A whole squad, maybe more." Liam looked at the doorway, then at the frightened humans around him. Patricia was injured. Robert was exhausted. Everyone was terrified, but they were alive. They had fought predator warriors and survived. Because they stopped acting like prey. "Let them come," Liam said quietly. Scrapper stood at his feet, blood still matting his fur, looking like some ancient earth god of war shrunk down to pocket size. "They still don't understand what we are." Outside, the sounds of approaching warriors grew louder. Heavy footsteps, weapons charging, orders barked in harsh predator language. Dr. Yenna activated her security monitor and her antennae went rigid. 15 warriors approaching. No, 20. They are coming in force. The humans looked at each other with fear. 20 warriors. 4 had nearly killed them all. 20 was impossible. But Liam knelt beside Scrapper and whispered something only the honey badger could hear. Scrapper's tail started moving back and forth, not wagging like a dog, swishing like a cat about to pounce. Anna grabbed her son's shoulder. "Liam, we need to run. Find another way out." "There is no other way out, Mom, you know that." He stood up and faced the door. "So we don't run, we make them sorry they came." The first predator warrior appeared in the doorway, then another, then 5 more. Their weapons were drawn, their armor was fresh, and their eyes were hungry for revenge. High Predator Voss watched the security footage for the 5th time. On the screen, a small human child stood next to an even smaller earth creature while both stared down his warriors. Not with fear, with defiance. "Impossible." He paused the feed and zoomed in on the child's face. 9 standard years, according to the intelligence report. Barely past infancy for most species. Should be cowering behind adults, begging for mercy. Instead, the child was the comm center, while adult humans panicked around him. "Play it again," Voss commanded. His second-in-command, a scarred veteran named Tresh, tapped the controls. The footage jumped back to the moment of breach. 5 warriors entering a sealed section. Easy prey, standard protocol. Then that creature launched itself like a missile. Voss had hunted across 40 systems. He had killed prey from 100 species. He understood fear. Fear was predictable. Fear made creatures run or freeze or beg. Fear was the foundation of successful hunting. That earth creature had no fear. "What is it?" Voss asked. Intelligence identifies it as a honey badger. Native to Earth, small omnivore, negligible threat assessment. Tresh pulled up a file. Average weight 9 kilograms, no natural weapons beyond standard claws and teeth, listed as domesticated companion animal. On screen, the honey badger tore out a warrior's throat in 3 seconds. "That does not look negligible." "No, High Predator, it does not." Voss replayed the sequence again. The creature didn't hesitate, didn't test defenses, just attacked with absolute commitment to violence. And when the other warriors tried to respond, the humans supported the creature. Not in a coordinated military way, in something more instinctive, more natural. "Like a pack." "The child," Voss said. "He directed them, told them where to strike, when to move. How did a 9-year-old know our tactics?" "Unknown. Human psychological profiles suggest they should be traumatized and paralyzed by combat at that age." "Then the profiles are wrong." Voss turned off the screen. "Assemble. Full assault team. 30 warriors, heavy weapons. I want that section cleared and every human inside dead, especially the child." Tresh hesitated. "High Predator, our forces are spread across the bunker, pulling 30 warriors." "Do it." 20 minutes later, Voss led his assault team through the outer corridors. They passed through sectors already cleared. Dead Kresh, dead Pentax, dead Wisps. All had died the way prey should die, quickly, quietly. But ahead in Section 7, something had changed. The warriors who first engaged the humans had reported impossible resistance. A demon creature, a child who fought like a veteran, nonsense, fear talking. Then 3 warriors died and 1 retreated. Then a second squad engaged, 10 warriors against 23 humans. 4 more warriors died before the squad retreated. Now the human section sat quiet, waiting. Voss could feel it like a pressure in the air. Prey didn't wait. Prey didn't make predators come to them. Unless they weren't prey anymore. His team reached the blown-out doorway to Section 7. Voss held up one clawed hand, stopping them. He peered inside carefully. The room was a mess, blood on the walls, broken equipment, scorch marks from weapons fire, and in the center, sitting on a supply crate, was the child. The honey badger sat at his feet. Both watched the doorway with steady eyes. "Surrender and you will die quickly," Voss called out in standard galactic. All species learned it, even humans. "You should leave," the child responded. His voice was calm, young but clear. "You already lost enough warriors." "I lost warriors to luck and surprise. That ends now." "It wasn't luck," the child tilted his head. "You treat us like prey, but we're not prey, we never were." Voss laughed. "You are small, weak, your weapons are primitive, what else would you be?" "Family." The word made no sense. Voss gestured to his warriors. They spread out, weapons charged, covering every angle, 30 against the child and his creature, overwhelming force. The child didn't move, just reached down and placed one hand on the honey badger's head. The creature leaned into the touch and something passed between them, not words, something deeper. Then the lights went out. Voss activated his helmet's night vision instantly. His warriors did the same. Green-tinted vision showed the room clearly. The child was gone. The creature was gone, somehow in the half-second of darkness they had moved. "Spread out, find them." His warriors advanced in formation. Professional, trained. 3 entered the room while others covered from the doorway, standard tactics. The honey badger dropped from the ceiling onto the middle warrior's back. Voss didn't even know Earth creatures could climb that well. The warrior spun, trying to throw the animal off, but those claws dug through armor gaps and held tight. The honey badger's teeth found the base of the warrior's skull. One bite, precise, fatal. The other 2 warriors fired, but the creature was already moving. It used the falling body as a springboard, launching toward the left warrior. Voss saw his soldier try to track the small target, saw the weapon swing, saw the shot miss by inches. The honey badger didn't miss. "All units suppressing fire, saturate the area." 20 warriors opened fire into the room. Energy bolts filled the space with deadly light. Nothing could survive that, nothing. But when the firing stopped, there was no body, no blood. The honey badger had vanished again. "Impossible," Tresh muttered beside Voss. Then the child's voice came from the darkness. "You still don't get it. Scrapper isn't just an animal. He's my friend. We know each other, trust each other. You can't beat that with weapons." "We can beat it with numbers," Voss roared. "Forward, all units." The warriors poured into the room. Overwhelming force meeting empty space. They spread out in all directions, checking every corner, every shadow, every... The honey badger hit 3 of them in 10 seconds. Darting from beneath equipment, striking joints and throats, disappearing before anyone could respond. The warriors bunched together for protection, exactly what they shouldn't do. And the other humans attacked from behind. They had been hiding in the walls, Voss realized, in the ventilation system, in the ceiling panels, waiting until his warriors were fully committed. Now they dropped down with improvised weapons, hitting distracted predators from unexpected angles. It was chaos, beautiful, terrible chaos. The honey badger moved through the confusion like death itself. Small, fast, fearless. Every few seconds another warrior fell. The humans didn't try to kill, they disabled, distracted, created openings for the creature to exploit. And through it all the child's voice called out directions. Calm, clear, guiding his family. Voss fired his weapon at a shadow that might have been the honey badger. The bolt missed. He fired again, missed again. The creature was everywhere and nowhere, moving with absolute confidence in its own ability to survive. Because it had something the predators didn't. It had someone who would die before letting it face danger alone. "Retreat," Voss commanded. His pride choked on the word, but survival demanded it. "All units withdraw." The warriors fell back through the doorway, dragging wounded with them. Voss counted heads as they passed. 30 warriors went in. 18 came out. In the room behind them, the lights came back on. The child sat on his supply crate again, honey badger at his feet, both covered in blood, both breathing steady, both watching the predators retreat with calm, knowing eyes. Voss stared at them through the doorway, at the 9-year-old child who just beat him, at the 20-pound creature that just killed or wounded 12 veteran warriors. "What are you?" Voss whispered. The child smiled, not cruel, not mocking, just sad. "We're what happens when you underestimate someone just because they're different." Then he reached down and hugged his honey badger close. The creature pressed against him, accepting the comfort and giving it back in equal measure. Voss turned and walked away. Behind him he heard the humans celebrating, crying, laughing, the sounds of prey who discovered they were never prey at all. Just family protecting family. And there was nothing in the galaxy more dangerous than that. The word spread through predator ranks like poison. A human child, a small earth creature, 12 warriors dead, more wounded, and High Predator Voss himself had retreated. Retreated. Predators didn't retreat from prey. It violated everything they believed about the natural order. Strong hunted weak. Large hunted small. Predator hunted prey. But what happened when prey stopped acting like prey? In Section 3, a squad of predators heard the story and laughed. Impossible. Voss must have made a mistake. They volunteered to finish what he started. 2 came back. In Sector 6, another squad decided to prove their worth. They brought heavy weapons, explosive charges, enough firepower to level the entire human section. 3 survived, barely. Commander Routh watched it all from his secured command center. His scaled face showed no emotion but his hands. Gripped the armrests of his command chair hard enough to leave marks. "The humans have repelled 4 assault teams," his tactical officer reported. "Predator forces are hesitant to engage further." Hesitant, Routh stood up. "Predators don't hesitate." "They do now, Commander." On the main screen, security footage showed Section 7. The humans had fortified their position with bodies and equipment. Patricia, the woman with the burned shoulder, stood watch at the entrance. Robert patrolled with his pipe, still covered in predator blood. Others tended wounds or rationed supplies. And in the center, the child sat with his creature, both rested but alert, ready. "Bring up thermal scans of that section," Routh commanded. The tactical officer complied. The scan showed 23 human heat signatures clustered in defensive positions, and 1 smaller signature pressed against the child. "That creature's core temperature is elevated," Dr. Yenna's voice came through the comm. She had been transmitting observations to command throughout the battle, indicating sustained combat readiness. Despite multiple engagements, it shows no signs of exhaustion. "How is that possible?" Routh studied the scans. "It's tiny." Honey badgers have extraordinary metabolic efficiency and something else. Dr. Yenna's image appeared on a side screen, her antennae quivering with excitement. The child and creature are in perfect synchronization. Their heart rates match. Their breathing cycles align. When one prepares to act, the other already knows. This level of bonding should be impossible between species. Yet it exists. Yes, and it terrifies the predators. Routh pulled up casualty reports. 23 predator warriors dead, 15 wounded, against 23 humans armed with improvised weapons and 1 9-year-old child with his pet. "No, not a pet, a partner." "Open a channel to Section 7, Routh ordered. His communications officer worked quickly. After a moment, the child's voice came through, calm, young, unafraid. "Commander Ralph, I hope you're planning to let us out of here soon." Ralph felt shame burn through him. He had sealed these humans in to die, had written them off as expendable, and they had done what his trained soldiers couldn't. They had stopped the predator advance cold. "You have my apologies, young human. I made calculations I now regret." "Apologies don't help much, while we're still locked in here with angry predators outside." "Fair point. I am reopening Section 7 bulkhead. My soldiers will escort you to the secure command center." Ralph paused. "Your tactics were impressive. I would like to understand them." "We didn't use tactics, we just didn't give up." The child's voice was matter-of-fact. "Scrapper doesn't know how to give up, so neither do I." The comm clicked off. On screen, Ralph watched the bulkhead door begin to open. His soldiers, weapons ready, advanced cautiously into Section 7. The humans didn't resist. They simply gathered their belongings and prepared to evacuate. But the predators weren't done. Alarms screamed across the command center, multiple contacts converging on Section 7. Fast. "High Predator Voss is leading a direct assault," the tactical officer shouted. 50 warriors, he's going straight for the humans." Ralph's blood went cold. "Get our soldiers out of there now." But it was too late. Voss and his warriors poured into the corridor outside Section 7 like a dark tide. His forces had been embarrassed, humiliated. Fear was spreading through his ranks. He needed to prove that predators were still apex hunters, even if it meant killing a child to do it. Ralph watched helplessly as Voss's force surrounded Section 7. His own soldiers were trapped inside with the humans, outnumbered 5-1. The predators had every advantage: numbers, weapons, position. Everything except understanding what they were really facing. Inside Section 7, Liam heard the alarms and saw his mother's face go pale. Anna grabbed him, pulled him close. "Stay behind me, whatever happens." "Mom," Liam gently removed her hands. "It's okay." "It's not okay. There are 50 of them." "I know." Liam looked down at Scrapper. The honey badger looked back up at him. 3 years together, 3 years of trust, 3 years of knowing each other better than they knew themselves. "We can't win this," Robert said quietly. "Not this time." "Probably not." Liam knelt beside Scrapper and wrapped his arms around the honey badger one more time. Not restraining, just sharing this moment, this connection, this absolute certainty that neither would abandon the other. The honey badger pressed against him, muscles coiled but breath steady. "I love you, buddy," Liam whispered. Scrapper made a soft sound, almost a purr, a sound he only made for Liam. Sound that meant, "I know, me too." Then Liam stood up and faced the corridor where Voss's warriors were gathering. Commander Ralph's soldiers formed a protective line in front of the humans, weapons raised. Good soldiers, brave soldiers. But not enough. Voss stepped into view, towering over everyone. His armor was pristine, his weapons were charged, his eyes were fixed on Liam with absolute focus. "You have killed enough of my warriors, human child. This ends now." "You're right," Liam agreed. "It does end, just not how you think." Voss raised his weapon, aiming directly at Liam's chest. "Any last words?" Liam smiled, not scared, not hateful, just sad for Voss, sad that the high predator still didn't understand. "Just one," Liam placed his hand on Scrapper's head. "Family." And Scrapper proved it. The honey badger moved faster than Voss could track, not toward the high predator, toward his soldiers. While every weapon was aimed at Liam, Scrapper hit the predator line from the side. Chaos erupted instantly. Warriors spun to track the small target. Weapons fired. Soldiers shouted. And Commander Ralph's soldiers attacked in the confusion. Liam didn't hide behind adults. He moved into the battle, calling out positions, directing humans and Kresh soldiers alike. His voice cut through the chaos with absolute clarity. "Left flank is weak. 3 warriors distracted. Patricia, hit them now. Robert, warrior at your 6 o'clock, dropping his guard." The humans and Kresh soldiers moved as one force. Not because they trained together, because they all followed the 9-year-old child who understood something the predators never would. Fighting wasn't about being the biggest or strongest or most heavily armed. Fighting was about protecting what mattered, and when you fought for family, you didn't know how to give up. Scrapper tore through predator ranks with mechanical efficiency. Strike, disable, move, strike again, never stopping, never slowing. The honey badger's eyes were bright with purpose. These warriors threatened Liam, therefore these warriors had to fall. Voss fired shot after shot, trying to hit the small creature. Every bolt missed. The honey badger moved like water, flowing around attacks, finding gaps, exploiting weaknesses. And Liam guided every movement without saying a word, just knowing where Scrapper was, where he needed to be, what he needed to do. Perfect trust. Voss's warriors fell. One by one, not because they were weak, not because they weren't trained, but because they were hunting prey that refused to be prey. The high predator watched his carefully planned assault crumble into chaos. 50 warriors against 23 humans, 1 child, and 1 small earth creature. The mathematics said he should win. The reality was very different. His soldiers stumbled over each other, trying to track targets that moved with coordination born from trust rather than training. The honey badger hit from impossible angles. The humans supported every attack with perfect timing. The Kresh soldiers fought with renewed confidence. And the child stood in the center of it all, orchestrating everything with calm words and steady eyes. Warrior at the back is reloading, Scrapper now. The honey badger was already moving before Liam finished speaking. The warrior barely had time to scream before going down. Voss finally understood the truth. This wasn't about weapons or armor or numbers. This was about something his species had forgotten in their rise to power. Connection. These humans didn't fight as individuals forced together by circumstance. They fought as family who chose to protect each other. The difference was everything. Fall back, Voss commanded. The word tasted like ashes. All units retreat to the ships. His remaining warriors didn't need to be told twice. They fled, actually fled, predators running from prey. The story would spread across the galaxy. Voss's career was over. His reputation was destroyed. But at least he would survive. The predator forces withdrew from Haven 7 in disorder, leaving behind their dead and wounded. Commander Routh stood in the corridor watching them go, his tactical mind trying to process what he had witnessed. Casualties? He asked quietly. From the human section, 2 wounded, both recovering. From our forces, 3 dead, 6 wounded. His tactical officer stared at the reports. The predators lost 32 confirmed dead, 17 wounded badly enough to require evacuation. Impossible numbers, except they weren't impossible, they were real. Liam knelt beside Scrapper in the corridor, checking his friend for injuries. The honey badger had a few cuts, nothing serious. His fur was matted with blood, most of it not his own. But his eyes were bright and alert, looking up at Liam with complete trust. Good boy, Liam whispered, hugging the honey badger close. You're such a good boy. Scrapper pressed against him, finally allowing himself to rest now that the danger had passed. His breathing slowed. His muscles relaxed, safe, home with Liam. Anna pulled them both into her arms, tears streaming down her face. You could have died, you both could have died. But we didn't, Liam looked up at his mother, because Scrapper's my family, and family doesn't give up on family. Dr. Yenna approached slowly, her antennae drooping with exhaustion. I have recorded everything. The Galactic Council must see this, must understand what human-animal partnerships truly mean. What do they mean? Commander Routh asked. He approached the small group, his scaled face showing respect for the first time. I have commanded soldiers for 20 cycles, trained warriors with decades of experience. Yet you, a child with a pet, accomplished what they could not. Scrapper's not a pet. Liam's voice was firm. He's my friend, my partner. We're stronger together than either of us could ever be alone. Routh looked at the honey badger, seeing it clearly for the first time. Not a cute companion. not a harmless animal, but a warrior who fought with absolute commitment because someone he loved needed him to fight. How many other humans have these partnerships? Billions. Anna stood up, still holding her son close. Dogs, cats, horses, birds, reptiles, we bond with hundreds of species, not as masters and servants, as family. The implications hit Ralph like a physical blow. Humans weren't just another species joining the galactic community. They were a species that multiplied their strength through bonds with other creatures. Every human potentially partnered with an animal trained not through fear but through love. The Council needs to know this, he said quietly. Immediately. 3 weeks later, the Galactic Council convened an emergency session. Representatives from 200 species gathered to watch Dr. Yenna's presentation. The footage showed everything. Liam and Scrapper facing down predator warriors, the perfect synchronization, the absolute trust, the undeniable results. When the presentation ended, the chamber sat in silence. Finally, the council speaker, an ancient being of crystallized thought, addressed the assembly. The predator legions have withdrawn from 14 contested systems. Their forces report that human-animal teams have been deployed to defensive positions across the frontier. Morale among predator troops has collapsed. Murmurs spread through the chamber. 14 systems, entire fleets retreating, because word had spread about a 9-year-old child and his honey badger who refused to be prey. Furthermore, the speaker continued, human volunteers have requested permission to form special defense units. Each human paired with an earth creature. They call themselves guardian teams. The murmurs grew louder. Some species expressed fear, others hope. A few, like the Kresh, expressed interest in learning from human tactics. The council must vote, the speaker declared. Do we accept human-animal guardian teams into our defense forces? The vote was unanimous. Back on Haven 7, Liam sat in the rebuilt common area with Scrapper curled in his lap. Around them, refugee children from a dozen species played together. A young Kresh asked if she could pet the honey badger. Liam showed her how gentle touches, respect for boundaries. He's not scary, the Kresh child said, surprised. He's only scary to people who threaten his family, Liam explained. To friends, he's just Scrapper. The honey badger tolerated the attention with patient dignity. He had become famous across the colony, the demon creature who stopped the predator legion. But to Liam, he was just his best friend, the companion who had been with him through everything. Patricia approached with Robert. Both had recovered from their injuries. Liam, the council approved our guardian team application. We ship out next week for training. That's great, Liam smiled. I'm happy for you. We wanted to ask, Patricia hesitated. Would you consider joining? They're making exceptions for qualified candidates regardless of age. You and Scrapper could. No thanks, Liam stroked Scrapper's fur. We did what we needed to do, but we're not soldiers. We're just a kid and his honey badger. Robert nodded, understanding. Fair enough, but if you ever change your mind, the galaxy could use more teams like you too. After they left, Anna sat down beside her son. You sure about that? You're being offered a chance to be a hero. I don't want to be a hero, Mom. I just want to be with Scrapper. Liam looked down at the honey badger who looked back up at him with those calm, knowing eyes. We're family, that's enough. Anna hugged them both. Yes, it is. Across the galaxy, the Predator Legions learned a hard truth. Humanity had entered the galactic stage, and they brought their oldest allies with them, dogs who would die protecting their humans, cats who fought with unmatched ferocity when their families were threatened, horses who carried their riders through any danger, birds who scouted from above with keen eyes, and honey badgers who knew no fear when protecting the children they loved. The predators had built their empire on the assumption that fear controlled all species. That prey would always be prey. That strength came from size and weapons and ruthlessness. They never considered that strength might come from a 9-year-old boy hugging a 20-pound honey badger and whispering, "Time to be brave, buddy." But they understood now. The entire galaxy understood. A single hug had changed the battlefield, not through violence or technology or tactics, but through something simpler and more powerful than any weapon. Trust, love, family, the things that made humans and their animal companions stronger together than anything the universe could throw against them. Liam sat in the afternoon sun with Scrapper sleeping in his lap, surrounded by children who had learned that courage came in all sizes. Commander Ralph had offered official commendations. Dr. Yenna had published her research to galactic acclaim. The Council had opened recruitment for Guardian teams across human space. But none of that mattered as much as this moment. Boy and Honey Badger, friend and friend, family and family. Safe together home, and ready for whatever came next.